Hey, it's Eric, and this is week 3 of the Radar Chronicles. Leith, welcome back. Leith wasn't with us last week, so I had to buck it on my own. But you're back. Welcome back. You want an update from what we did?
Absolutely. We've gone from like phase 1 now to phase 2, and I think that's an interesting transition. So I think everybody really wants to hear about that.
Yeah. So good to have you back. I hope you had fun at your reunion, 50th reunion. Pretty cool. A lot of fun. So here's what happened. In the first 2 weeks, we collected all the baseline data for our 6 study participants. Last week, we finally started the triage. We finally started to make the swing adjustments. And let me tell you, it was fascinating watching what these guys were doing. Now, we're focused primarily on the driver. But watching what these guys did and how they went through these transformations in one session was phenomenal.
So these guys are just average players.
Yeah, average players. The lowest handicap is a 9 when we got all the way up to a 22. So just average golfers. Now, so let me give you some statistics on what we had. So we have 6 guys in the study. We know that the ideal driver swing is a high draw. That pretty much maximizes your distance, carry, roll out, all this. So that's the shot that we would ideally like to hit. We know the physics that produces that, which is a slightly inside out club path, slightly closed face to path, and an upward angle of attack. That gives you the high draw. Okay. The opposite of that would be kind of like the low, weak fade that doesn't go anywhere, the shot that we don't like. That
really hate.
We all hate that. That is an outside-in swing path, downward angle of attack with an open club face. So basically the opposite of, okay, so what we found is that 4 of the 6, 2/3 of them, had that pattern. They had the outside-in swing, downward angle of attack with an open club face.
So these guys are, if you want to be polite about it, you call them slicers.
Yes, that's right. So what was fascinating though was within one session, virtually all of them made amazing changes. Let me give you the biggest example. I made some notes. One of them, pretty severe, had a 17-degree outside in. I mean, that's almost looks like sideways outside in. So that guy played a big banana. I'll tell you what, he can't play a dogleg left.
Right.
If there are trees on the left side, he might not be able to play that hole, right? Yeah. So we took him in one session from 17 degrees outside in to 5 degrees outside in. One session, so that's 12 degrees difference.
So then what kind of difference does that make, like right now, in results?
So for him, instead of aiming 50 yards to the left and hitting a big banana that doesn't go anywhere, he can now play a soft fade. So he can aim up the left side and hit it, and he's still going to hit the fairway. Here's the other thing. He had a pretty severe downward angle of attack. So what happened now is, as we got him to change his angles a little bit, he started to hit the ball up. So in one session, he changed from a pretty severe slice to a soft fade, but he also picked up 20 yards.
I see. And so you're helping people also understand what they need to do in order to get the movement that they want.
To some extent, we're giving them some coaching. So we're not doing the instructional side of things, in other words, do A, B, C, but we're giving them some suggestions. So one of his suggestions was, take a look at your posture and see what we can do to make the change.
So this is not really at all, and this is something that's really an important point, it's not really about the swing. This is really about the science of impact and the dynamics of how you get to that point of impact.
We don't care what your swing looks like anymore. All we care about is the dynamics of impact.
Just hit it square.
Yeah, whatever it takes to hit it square. Jim Furyk is a perfect example of that. Big loopy swing, but boy, I tell you what, his impact is fantastic. So we don't care so much about what the swing looks like. That said, we still want to make sure you're set up correctly so that you can move the way you want to. And so that's what we're finding these guys are doing. Fascinating to watch them do the self-adjustments. And so here's a guy, 17 degrees outside in swing, very severe, who's hitting at 5 degrees, who feels like he's swinging dead sideways, and it's still not enough.
Still not enough.
Still not enough.
I know, I've had that experience myself. When you practiced for all of these years, you know, that feels natural. So now if you need to change that, it's going to feel funny.
Yeah, so we're actually looking for them to feel funny, which is really interesting.
Which is why you need that radar behind you saying, not enough, not enough.
Yeah, whatever you think you're doing, do more. So I would anticipate in the next session that he'll be actually changed from a 5-degree inside out to a slightly inside out path. Now, he was hitting his drives maybe 130, 140.
Yeah,
I could almost guarantee you by the end of this study, he's going to be hitting them over 200. He's going to pick up 60 to 80 yards on his drives.
And he doesn't have to go all the way to a high draw. He could just
No,
stop with a power fade.
Even if he hits a little fade, no problem. He's still going to pick up, and he's going to hit a lot more fairways. And that's one of the things that he's really excited about. So big transformative change. So that's one thing. Remember, our process is first we go through swing dynamics. We change the swing dynamics. So that dynamics is what's your path look like. We change that from outside in to inside out. That's step one. Two of the guys already had the swing dynamics we're looking for. Inside out path, upward angle of attack, slightly closed club face. For them, we switched to phase two, which is consistency training. That's the other part that I'm really excited about, is we now get to say, great, we're in the realm of what we want to do from a swing dynamic standpoint. Right? The physics of, the science of impact, we got that. We're where you want to be. Now we have to make it consistent.
And that means you're going to have to do a certain number of reps.
Well, that's the one thing that we found is that they made some progress. So when they started off, their misses were wider. Let's put it this way. By the time they finished, their misses were narrower. And so what that meant was when they were hitting them out on the range, their dispersal pattern tightened up, which means they hit more fairways, and that's also what's going to help their scores. The other thing that we find is that part of it, the consistency training, takes longer. We can make swing dynamics changes, it seems like, almost instantly in one session. I mean, we've had miracles happen here, but the consistency part of it, I think that's something that we're going to find out is going to take time.
Making it sick, because then you have to bring it back into your whole pre-shot routine and make sure that you get alignment correct, and you know, they're kind of the basics that really have to be done. Well, I think this sounds good. So what comes next?
Well, we're going to refine that process, and we're going to see how many guys have made the change so that their swing dynamics fit the profile that they want, and then we're going to do the consistency training side of things. So again, it's feedback. So the process here is, let's change the path and then the angle of attack. Now, one of the other interesting things that we found is, especially with the driver, we want an upward angle of attack. Oftentimes when we've changed someone from an outside in downward angle of attack to an inside out change, their spine angle changes, you know, kind of naturally, and so does their angle of attack. So what we're finding is we're getting a twofer on that. We're getting, as we change them from an outside in swing to an inside out, they're also hitting up on the ball. So their launch angle is better, it carries farther, they're getting more distance, and so we don't have to spend as much time on the upward angle of attack. It seems to be happening naturally as a consequence of getting the right path.
So to get this idea across, all you do is you're just giving hints. You're saying swing out. You're saying swing up. What are you doing? You're saying more. And then we give them the feedback. That's the beauty. Feedback, shot by shot feedback. And we hear it again and again. Wow, I thought I did a lot, and it still isn't enough. Keep going. And they believe the radar where they might not believe our naked eye. Yeah, nobody ever gets there. Nobody ever gets to where it's uncomfortable on their own. They just don't do it. This is kind of the whole idea behind practice with this level of intensity. Really, it's really what they're calling deliberate practice in all of the psychology books.
Exactly. So if you can practice, the more precision you can get in your practice, the more likely that one thing is to emerge in your swing. That's the whole idea behind deliberate practice. Erickson and his 10,000 hours to get to mastery level, all of that stuff. It's all about deliberate practice, making the one move that you want to make consistently and precisely. So that's what we're going to be able to get. That's part of what I'm excited about in the next phase. So session 4 is coming up, and we're going to move again. We're going to try to get more guys into the next phase. The next phase after we do swing path and angle of attack is face angle, and I think that is where some real interesting learning is going to come about, because I'm not convinced that there are very many golfers, period, anywhere, that have a good sense of what their face angle is doing at impact.
And it's 85% of the direction of the shot.
So I think we're going to learn a lot in this next session. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they get when we start giving them the feedback. Here's your face angle on that shot, shot by shot. Here's your face angle, and I think that's another key to helping with accuracy and consistency is understanding, you know, what does your face angle feel like? How do my hands and my forearms feel relative to the club head as they get into the impact position? And I think if we can help them to understand how that works, we're going to go a long way towards helping them play a lot better golf.
I'm going to take the medicine myself.
Let's put you up on the monitor and see if we can see where your face angle is.
We'll make a story.
All right.
Bye-bye.
This is Eric Jones and Leith Anderson, Radar Chronicles week number 3. Stay tuned for next week when we talk about face angle. It's going to be fascinating. Thanks for joining us.